Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RSM Gallery. The Valente Center and the library are pleased to present this exhibit as the first in kind of a series of events with Johnny Haiki that will be taking place from today through next week. So I'll let Hans, sorry, I'm just blanking, the head of the Valente Center, talk about some of the events next week and thank our sponsors, and then I'll be introducing Johnny a little bit more formally. But thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Danielle. So my name is Hans Heinert. I am the director of the Valente Center for Arts and Sciences. We are quite excited to have Johnny here on campus. He's an alum of Bentley and has been in my classes even, and now we see what it can bring you, right? I'm really proud. He used to be a very talented student and one of a group of friends that were always very inspirational to me, and it was wonderful to see how John has developed, and you see some of his many talents here on display, so I'm really happy to have him here. Of course, Johnny is an alumnus. This weekend will be the Falcons weekend, and so it is nice to have an alum exhibiting this beautiful gallery in that weekend, right? So next week we will have a couple of other events, because as John will talk about, we see in his videos here as well, there is a lot to art that goes beyond the artistry, right? So it is about commercialization, it's about a brand, it's about a story, and multimedia and all of that. On Monday there's a couple of events, but a public event is an interview with John by our professor in marketing, Shell Santana. It is an interesting story. I think it will be about branding, right? So that's nice. And the day after we will have a panel with professors from the finance department, the marketing, or not the marketing department because that's on Monday, the economics department of English and Media Studies and Creative Industries, and a student who's a member of the Blockchain Student Association, and Johnny, and we'll talk about commercialization, marketability of art, and NFTs, like you see behind you, right? So I'm really happy to have such a lineup of events, and to have John on our campus for so long, right?
Thank
so
you
I'm
so
happy,
much. Yeah.
and proud, beyond the sponsorship of the gallery here in our library, unsurpassed library, I always want to say that, and our Valente Center. We have found co-sponsors with the Dean of Arts and Sciences, the Alumni Office, the Bentley Blockchain Association, the Departments of Marketing, Economics, Finance, and English and Media Studies. I'm really proud about that because it's really quite a list of sponsors, right? The Multicultural Center is involved as well, so that's really good. So it also shows that we're very, very happy to have
Absolutely,
you. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and let me just, a lot of you probably need no introduction to Johnny, but I'm going to give you one, get a little more background. So Johnny Haiki, yeah, some of you may have known him as Jonathan Yu. He's a double Falcon. He received his BS from Bentley in 2018 and his MBS in 2019. He's an entrepreneurially focused multimedia artist passionate about socio-cultural inclusivity. He was born in Taipei and raised in Manila. And he currently works at Zeta Global in New York City as a business systems analyst, but spends most of his time developing his music and his art. Primarily, he's a singer and a songwriter in the group TORSADES, but he's in the pursuit of bridging his music and his art. When the pandemic struck, he realized that live music events were not going to be happening. So he took out his brush and his canvas and started painting his favorite creatures, the FOOS that you see on the walls behind you and in front of you. As the NFT scene rose, he saw the opportunity to develop this moniker, the FOOS, into a manga that will eventually turn into an anime film to be scored by his music group, TORSADES. We are really pleased to share this exhibit of Johnny's paintings, sculpture, manga, video, and NFT work here in the RSM Gallery, and hope to see some of you at next week's conversations and panels. Thank you. And thank you, Johnny, for sharing your work with us.
Thank you, Danielle, for the kind introduction. so crazy to be back here, and I just want to say thank you to Hans for organizing everything. Thank you to Danielle. Danielle this week actually helped me put everything up. It's kind of crazy to see everything just hung up in this beautiful space here at Bentley. When I was here at Bentley, I spent a lot of time in the basement. I love studying in that basement. It's so quiet, and you know, we usually take this space here for granted. It's very nice to see this space being used, and I think after Daniel hung up everything so neatly, we really realized that you really have everything you need here at Bentley. I've spent 5 years here, and to say that I found a big part of myself here at Bentley University, so it's kind of come full circle that I'm able to show everything that I've worked on literally right after graduation to this moment. To say that I miss Bentley is literally just like, it's so crazy how much I miss being here. The friends that I've made in the Multicultural Center, I think before it was called Alana, and today it's called Mosaic. My first friends in America, as a foreigner, I literally knew nobody. It was like kindergarten all over again here at Bentley University when I was a freshman. It's like, okay, at that time, I just said, hi, my name's Jonathan. And some of my good friends now, you can just be called John. I was like, sure, I'll be John. And then as time passed by, it became John, Johnny, and the friends that I made here at Alana are still the friends that I hang out with literally right now. A few of them are coming in a little bit. I still live with some of the people in LA from Bentley. And on top of that, being a part of a fraternity, Delta Kappa Epsilon, and you know, having people that I didn't even go to school with you guys, and you guys are here. And one of you guys are wearing the sweatshirts I had like 3 years ago. It really means a lot to me that the place that helped me find myself the most still has a space for me. And I think sharing stories and bringing back things that I've worked on, like right after graduation, we all know that the pandemic really changed a lot of the things that were supposedly normal. Work remote now is the standard. You had classes like online, right? Yeah. Literally, you didn't even see your friends. Don't know if your teachers are mad at you for missing class. People act differently ever since pandemic started, so it's really nice to have everybody in this room. I think the rise of NFTs was definitely a product of COVID as well. I think communities were built, and there were definitely advancements in how people socialize through the internet. So I'm part of a few communities. My first NFT community that I was part of was actually the Bored Apes. I didn't really know what was going on, and I will say at that point, NFT was just another word for me that pretty much I had no clue what the NFT world was about. But I just said, whatever, I'll put money into this, it seems cool. The Bored Ape just reminded me of pretty much the Bathing Ape, and that was like a clothing brand or like a movement I really enjoyed. And so art was really a big hook for me into the NFT scene. With that said, I actually pretty much partnered up with a few of my friends. I went to New York, literally LA. We were at NFT LA, NFT NYC, running around with one of my really good friends from Bentley, Fred Dong. He used to be the president of BASA here, and him and I worked for 2 years just literally talking to everybody on, hey, how do you make a successful NFT project? And at the end of the day, the answer to that is you need to build a community. You need to be connected to people. You need to understand other people's stories, where they come from, where they're going, and what they want to do, and understand, you know, the hardships that they've gone through as, you know, maybe like a generational trauma. There's a lot of things that before us happened. So it's like, for me, COVID allowed me to really dive back into my roots, which is why you see a lot of the art you see today is pretty much inspired by my culture. I'm from Taiwan and Manila. I spent a lot of time in those countries, and for me, in a time that was so dark like COVID, reaching out to family, reaching out to your roots, and understanding how you as a person or your people came to be today is super important for you, especially like after school. Because after school, after college, what happens? a lot of the things that are normal for you today, or the things that your routines that you have today, that's going to change drastically. And a lot of people are lost in life. And for me, hanging on to my culture, talking to my family about, hey, what is it actually to be like Chinese who grew up in the Philippines? There's a lot of cultural history in that. And with that, I pretty much reached out to my cousin. So a lot of the manga that you see here in front of you today was a collection of ideas from our community back in February. We launched our first drop, which was the Genesis Pass. And you see that Genesis Pass on the screens. It's actually the 3D food with 4 colors. People who hold that actually helped me decide the fate of this manga. And I reached out to my cousin who's, oh, these are the NFTs, by the way, that I dropped in February. And holders are able to help me decide what's to happen in this story. So with that said, the story is pretty much rooted in my culture and a lot of the moral values that my parents taught me. I think it's so important to acknowledge that I am a product of my parents. I love my mom and dad, I really do. I'll say that loud and proud. Without my parents, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And even in times where like I don't deserve their attention and I was being a rebel or just trying to, you know, just being a kid, being a teenager and just wanting to do everything they say not to do, they still took the time to be patient. So those are some of the moral values that I want to share with everybody through this story. You know, parents are always there for us, and I do love my parents a lot. And during COVID, I learned that there are a lot of stories that were never told to me, and sometimes even people older than us or even your parents have stories they don't know how to tell you. Like they don't know how to open that conversation. So I think COVID, I haven't seen my parents in 3 years. And after COVID, I went back to Taiwan and I asked them so many questions, like so many questions. And I was like, I wonder if my parents would answer these questions, but I'm gonna ask them. So I would say this comic book means a lot to me because I'm able to share a lot of the learnings and my experiences as a kid here at Bentley. Being part of Alana, my core friend group is super diverse. Hans knows that, and I think all of us have been in your class. Silmar, Eve, Dom, Rashid, me. We're a super diverse group of friends. And people would look at us and be like, how is this like group of people just like always stuck together everywhere we went? We went to Seasons together, we sit on one table. We go to the gym together, we hit chest day every single day together. We go to another concert, we're there. Anywhere that there was an event, I felt so happy to be part of that group. Same thing with Deke. Like, I found a place in Deke. And I would say there's definitely something to learn from every single group that you're here at Bentley. At Deke, I learned that finance, that is something that Deke has locked down. I don't know how, but I probably learned more about finance from hanging out with Deke brothers than in class. I'm being honest, like, you know, that's just what it is. And for me, being here at Bentley, I was able to learn that no matter who you bump into here on campus, you're gonna learn something from somebody. And so, you know, around these paintings are a few words that are very meaningful to me. This first one is a quote that my father wrote, and I did this painting in Taiwan. I'd say around 3 weeks ago, I finished it. We visited my grandpa at his grave, and his grave is overwatching like a beautiful mountain. And pretty much I was like, Grandpa, I showed him like a photo on myself. I was like, hey, what should I put for this quote? What should I put on this painting as a quote? And then my dad, he's not like a poet or anything. He just said these quotes out. And I was like, how did you just say that? My dad is not a poet at all. So the dragons watch over the people, over the living, and protects them. And I think it was really just a realization that there are people like our ancestors that are gone, and that doesn't mean you can't talk to them. They'll talk to you if you just open the doors. Which is why I go back to saying that I hold a lot of roots to my culture, because there are times where I feel lost. I don't know what to do with my life. And it always goes back to, wait, I know what to do with my life. I just need to study everything that's happened before I even existed. So this second piece is a quote by my mother. A falcon is one of the four benevolence in my comic book. It is the protector of the skies. And this falcon actually, I would say, there are times where like you just want to punch somebody because, you know, you're just in disagreement. And you have to remember sometimes like just delivering a punch to the face is not the best way to communicate your frustrations. Just like a falcon is able to deliver you a message through a gust of wind and create separation from the situation that you're in. So I thought to my mom, I was like, Mom, it's kind of wise that you're able to, one, get away from the situation, two, still deliver the blow, and really create space for yourself to think about, you know, what's actually going on. And that was that piece. This third piece over here, the words from right to left says, love everybody, trust a few, and hurt nobody. This piece is dedicated to one of my good friends at that time, and we had a falling out due to, I would say, misalignment in morals and misunderstandings of expectations. And this was a painting that I did really in a tough time with a friend that I would consider a brother at one point when I was in LA. And it comes down to, there are times in life where, you know, you'll have falling outs, but understand that everybody is human, and, you know, at the end of the day, you just want peace. This fourth piece on the right, I'll be super straight up with everybody. This is 1/8 of a painting that was like 10 feet by 28 feet. I think I told Danielle, hey, I'm gonna do a painting this big, like from here all the way to there. And then I realized I couldn't do it. So I cut out my favorite part from that piece, and that was what was left. And it was pretty ambitious for me because I actually really wanted to paint like something from here all the way there, but I never had the space to really see the proper perspective of the full painting itself. So this is actually my life's best work. I would say this painting is something that I will hold for myself forever. I definitely learned a lot about a lot of different techniques in this piece. If you would like to enjoy it later, I think the best way to enjoy this piece is to walk left and right and look at the piece as you walk. You will probably see some of the fur come to life, and you'll see some of the details like really start moving. But yes, this is everything I worked on this month, and honestly I'm kind of overwhelmed by like, I'm talking too much, right? But really thankful for my time here at Bentley. Thank you, Hans. Thank you, Danielle, for teaching me how to bring everything together. I never had a gallery this cohesive in my life. I would say a lot of the galleries and events I do are pop-ups, and so something this organized is something that I learned from you, Danielle. So thank you for your help, Danielle. This entire gallery would not be the way it looks without Danielle, so let's all give Danielle a round of applause.
Usually after this, when the artist talk, thank you, Johnny. It's been a pleasure to work with, and it's been great bringing everything together, and also seeing the digital work, living with the paintings. We usually open up the talk to questions, and of course we'll have informal conversations after, but I just want to see if anybody has any questions for Johnny about specific pieces or things he's alluded to, just a couple questions, and then we'll enjoy the food. Any questions? Yes, Molly.
So the Haiki, where does that come from, Johnny?
Haiki,
Oh, is that
yeah, it's all good, it's okay. Haiki is my dad's first name. So, because my dad was born in Hong Kong, and he migrated to the Philippines at a tough time. They didn't let him keep his last name. So my family's original last name is Wang, But because he migrated from Hong Kong to Philippines, he wasn't able to keep that last name. So he was given the last name Yu, while his siblings all kept the Wang last name due to, I mean, it's a money issue at that point. You had to pay to keep the last name that you had in another country if you were migrating to the Philippines. And you probably know about this, but no, you don't know about this? No, but pretty much like in the Philippines, if you're from Hong Kong or another country, if you have 3 syllables in your name, like it's pretty much more expensive to keep those names. And my dad's family didn't have that money to keep the last name. And so he took this last name Yu, which is just 1 syllable. It's not that far from Wang, but the point is he wasn't able to keep his last name. And so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna use my dad's first name and take it for myself. And now he loves it. Yeah, he debated if he should let me just change my last name to that too. So yeah, because it's an actual like given name, unlike Yu. It's just a name that was given to him by the government. It has like no roots whatsoever.
Well, I love that you renamed yourself.
Yeah.
Like and that's kind of often too is like in American culture the thing of like you can make yourself what you want. It's like you're sort of taking that choice on, as well as honoring your father, which is really beautiful. And I have one question for you in terms of this piece, as you were talking about going to your grandfather's grave. When you were painting this, were you thinking about your grandfather as you were painting? Because as you were talking, and I'm looking at the nose of that dragon, it looks like an old dragon.
It's an old soul.
Look at that dragon in the face. So that's what it was like. I was like, oh, that like, that's why I love the stories behind the work to sort of help us kind of look more closely. But
I would say my grandpa, the one I visited recently in Taiwan, he's like a calligraphy artist. Mm-hmm. So I would say I got some inspiration from him as a kid. My mother said that he was really, really good at writing Chinese characters. He's actually ambidextrous. Mm-hmm. So he would write Chinese characters both in one go like this. And it was impressive, but I never got to see it myself because he was already old. But this piece is definitely dedicated to him. We were actually at the grave like 3 weeks ago, and we asked him, oh, does this quote work? And me and my dad tossed 2 coins. We were like, all right, if it's a yes, just do 1 heads, 1 tails. And we tossed a coin, and he gave us a yes. So at that point, it was like, wow, you can really talk to the dead if you just try hard enough.
Any other questions about the work or about all the different explorations? Like we'll also have time next week too. So, or you can ask informally if people are shy. Oh, there we go. There we go.
How long is your longest painting? Like, which one has the most work into it?
I would say the tiger definitely has the most hours put into it. I would say I would put around 70 hours on it, 60 to 70 hours. I hung it up in LA for like 2 months, and I would just sit down for like 2 hours every time I felt like it, and then just get up and leave it there. It's crazy because Rashid saw it from start to finish.
I'm so sorry, I'm a little sick, but
It's okay.
what inspires you artistically?
Artistically, I follow very little artists. I would say I follow more athletes. I follow more athletes than artists, actually. I think which is why like I did this piece over here. I love basketball, obviously. Like basketball is my favorite sport, and it just sucks that I'm not good at it. But I love it, I really do love it. I love basketball so much, and I think that the discipline that athletes have to have in order to do what they do at their sport is insane. Like they themselves have conditioned themselves to just put in the work every day, which is why like my motto is keep pushing. Like if you see in the poster over there, and everything that I do, my motto is keep pushing, because that's the only thing that you can control. Like you're only gonna be as good at something. To be honest, like I tried so hard to be good at basketball, but I'm just not good at it. But I kept trying and realized that if I put my efforts into something that I love, like basketball, but there's a cap to how good I am at it, I might as well try other things. So this comes to me being like a multimedia artist. Like I knew right off the bat, like, I don't think I'm gonna ever be like the greatest at just one thing, because I feel like that comes with like an inborn talent. So when people ask me like, oh, do you think like it's like inborn talent that you can paint? I would say a little bit, but Silmar also knows that I'm watching every single YouTube video that exists on how to paint if I want to paint. How to play basketball, I will search YouTube on how to do this move, because everything that we need is literally like within our grasp. And so I think there's even one point I was at Bentley, I was like, I want to learn how to speak like a French accent. You remember that one? It was like 3 a.m. at the dorm, I was like, how to speak French accent, YouTube. I was like, okay. And he saw me try. I was like, nope, I'm not trying this ever again.
I was hoping you'd give us
No, I can't do it. But yeah, I think my life's motto is really to keep pushing. And if you feel like you're plateauing at one thing, just try something else too. And you come back to it, you come back to that plateau that you were at, and just start from there and just keep going. Yeah, whatever it is you guys do, just keep pushing, because that's what I'm doing.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for the questions.
Yeah.
Open up some more questions and get some photos with the man of the hour.
Thank you. Thank you, Hans. Thank you so much.